Hi all, welcome back. So in this lecture we'll discuss about wireless protocols and its functionality. So the content we are going to discuss about some introduction about wireless networks and physical topologies and type of connections, network categories, network protocols and standards. So we know the data communication. It is both parties are agreed. Then we are sending the data from one location to another location or send it to receiver by some sort of communication medium. So in between sender and receiver, we have some medium. Through this medium, we are sending the message. So that medium may be of simplex method. That may be the sort of data flow, maybe in simplex method, half duplex method and full duplex method. So in simplex method it will only one-way connection, one-way communication, then the mainframe to monitor, we can say that. In case of half duplex, one station to another station. In case of full duplex, again station to some another, both-way communication is possible simultaneously. So we have some uses by with the help of computer networks. So we may establish or we may operate the business applications, home applications, mobile users and social issues and access to remote information, person to person communication, interactive communication, or when we are having entertainment, that also possible, electronic commerce, like that. So we have several users are there. So the criteria for this network is based on three components. One is performance and second one is reliability and security. So the performance depends on the elements we are using to establish that particular network. At the same time, the amount of material passing through a system or process, that is measured in terms of delay and throughput. Reliability in the sense the how much percentage of failure rate when we are transmitting the data from sender to receiver or one location to another location or one network to another network. So this is called the ability to cope with errors during the execution, that is called robustness or availability, which is measured in these terms. Security, data protection against corruption and loss of data that may be due to errors as well as malicious users. So let us consider the physical structures. We have basically two types of connections. One is point to point, that is single transmitter and single receiver. Multi-point, multiple recipients of single transmission. And the topology also, how we are connecting the devices and how we are transmitting the data and in what category we are connecting that particular devices. So in type of transmission, we have unicast, multicast as well as broadcast, and other than geocasting and anycasting is also there. So unicasting means only one to one. Multicasting means we are sending the IP datagrams to group of people in a single transmission. In the case of broadcasting is nothing but transmitting the audio or video or message to all recipients simultaneously. So that is which is public as well as commercial broadcasting, we can call it as. So broadcasting in the sense, anycasting in the sense, one to nearest association, we can call it as, that is datagrams are routed to a single member or a group of receivers that are in small destination address. Geocasting in the sense, delivery of information to group of destinations in a network identified by geographical locations. We can simply call it as mobile ad hoc networks. So in case of depending on the protocol we are using, either we may use IPv4 or IPv6. If we use IPv4, the unicasting, multicasting and broadcasting are supported in IPv4 version. In the case of IPv6 version, unicasting, multicasting and anycasting is possible, but broadcasting is not possible in IPv6 version protocol. So we have several categories of networks, that is home network, PANs, shared memory, non-shared memory, or the multi processors, LANs, WANs, MANs, and some wireless networks as well as internet workings. So these are the various categories of networks. So in case of multiprocessors, we have a shared memory multiprocessor as well as non-shared memory multiprocessors. So in shared memory multiprocessor, in general, the nodes are connected in bus architecture and communicate through the shared memory. Only one common memory they have. All the nodes are sharing a single common memory, and it will share the IO devices we have. At the same time, all the components of that particular network are shared. And the best examples are Sun servers, dual processor PCs, which are the examples for shared memory multiprocessors. In the case of non-shared memory multiprocessors, which are connected to front end host, we can call it as, we can connect it to front end host. And this is the example of the non-shared memory multiprocessors. And regular multi-hop topology, it will use point-to-point or multi-point links. Both we can establish, and the memory will not be shared among the devices and communicate through the messages in this non-shared memory. And examples are Intel Paragon Cray T3D is an example for these multiprocessors of non-shared memory. And this is an example or architecture of an isolated LAN connecting 12 computers to a hub in a closet. 12 computers were connecting to a single hub in a closet. So again, in wireless networks also we have several categories called base station, infrastructured wireless networks, as well as ad hoc wireless, mobile ad hoc networks, and system interconnection, wireless LANs and wireless WANs. So base station is nothing but all communication through an access point in hub topology. Other nodes are fixed or mobile. Other nodes which are can be fixed or some mobile. So infrastructure wireless, in the sense base station network is connected to the wide internet. In the case of ad hoc wireless networks, wireless nodes communicate directly with one another. MANETs, which are self-configured infrastructureless networks of mobiles, and these nodes are also again ad hoc or mobile nodes. Wireless area networks. So if we have the laptop or other mobile devices, and depending on the demand for wireless local area networking, and in general the companies are jumped very quickly in developing incompatible wireless products from around 1990. So industry decided to give a standardization to IEEE committee that who deals with wireless LANs, namely 802 IEEE 802 committee. So in 802 again subcommittees are there depending on the committees they worked, and they have given standards for this wireless networks. So in future there is a possibility of connecting multiple nodes, those who are in fly or those who are in movement. So we can call this as flying LAN. So let us see what are the different 802 standards we have. So 802.1 some number 802.2 and 8 up to 802.17. So mainly whatever the standards represented by star, these networks are very important. Okay, and those who have arrow symbol down, so that are hibernating. And 802.3 is for Ethernet, and 802.11 is for wireless LANs, 15 is for personal area network, and 16 is for broadband wireless networks. But in this case we are only more focusing on the wireless LANs, that is 802.11. So this is a protocol stack. We have 802.11 protocol stack. So in this we can see the various layers of OSI, and these are upper layers, data link layer and physical layer. So in physical layer, what are the 802 protocols, 802.11 protocols we are using in the case of wireless networks, wireless local area networks. And let us see 802.11 infrared, 802.1 high frequency SPED spectrum, and 802.11 direct sequence SPED spectrum, and 802.11a OFDM orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, 802.11b HRDSS, that is high rate direct sequence SPED spectrum, 802.11g, which is called OFDM, which is the latest protocol we have in wireless local area networks. So this is summary of 802.11 protocol summary, and 11 11A, 11B, 11G, 11N and 11AC, and in which frequency they are working, and which signal they are using, and the year of initiation and the maximum data rate. This is the protocol summary. And 802.11 AC, which is working in 5 GHz frequency, and the signal is 256 QAM, that is more data can be uploaded. This 256 QAM is divided into 4 partitions of equal, which is of 64 in each partition, and in 64 each point is which can transmit up to 4 bit of data. So huge amount of data we can transmit with the help of 802.11 AC. So let us discuss about the various protocols we are using in wireless physical layer. So the physical layer consists of OSI, which is having 5 options, that is in 1997 802.11 infrared, FHSS and as well as DHSS. These 3 are invented. 99 892.11a OFDM and 802.11b direct sequence SPED spectrum high rate. In 2001 802.11g, which is using OFDM as a signal. And the second case, in the second protocol suite we have is 802.11 infrared. So in this also we have 2 capacities, 1 Mbps or 2 Mbps, and which range is about 10 to 20 meters, and which cannot penetrate with walls and any hard object. So these signals will not penetrate. And there is also one disadvantage with this 802.11 infrared, which is we cannot use these protocols in outdoor communication. It will not work in outdoor communication. And another one is 802.11 FHS, that is frequency hope SPED spectrum. So in this, the main issue is multipath fading. So 72 non-overlapping channels we have in this, each 1 MHz wide at low end of 2.4 GHz ISM band. Same pseudo-random number generator used for all the stations in this case, and the minimum time on channel before hopping is 400 milliseconds. That is, ISM means industrial and scientific medical radio band. And the multipath fading in the sense unreliability of wireless links. Another one we have is high rate direct sequence SPED spectrum. So in this, spread signal over the entire spectrum using the pseudo random sequence just like a CDMA. So each bit transmitted using a 11 chip Barker sequence PSK at 1 MHz band. That is phase shift keying. And in this also we have 2 capacities, 1 or 2 Mbps. and it 1.11a which is having OFDM orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. So in this compatible with European Hyperline. At the same time, 54 Mbps in wider 5.5 GHz band, and transmission range is limited in this. At the same time, it uses 52 FDM channels, in this 48 for data and 4 for synchronization. Encoding is very complex, that is in up to 18 Mbps and QAM above this capacity. So more difficulty in penetrating walls. So another layer we have is called 802.11b high rate direct sequence SPED spectrum. So 11a, 11b in general, 11a and 11b shows almost split in the standard committee. So 11b approved and hit the market before 11a, that is 802.11a, and up to 11 Mbps in 2.4 GHz band using 11 million chips per second. That is a frequency, and we can note this bandwidth. All these protocols have to deal with interference from microwave ovens as well as cordless phones or garage door openers. So range is 7 times greater than 11a, 11a, and 11b and 11a are incompatible. So the last protocol we are using is 802.11g, that is OFDM orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, and so in this an attempt to combine the best of both 802.11a and 802.11b. So supports bandwidths up to 54 Mbps, and it also uses 2.4 GHz frequency for greater range, and it backward compatible with 802.11b. So let us have some overview about the MAC sublayer protocols. So same in 802.11. So in this we have in general in 802.3, which is a wide network. So in this seizing channel is there, but in the case of 802.11, due to this wireless LAN, there is no seizing channel like 802.3. So if there is no seizing channel, we are going to face two problems called hidden terminal problem as well as exposed station problem. So to overcome these two problems, we need to have the two modes of operation called DCF and PCF, distributed coordination function and the point coordination function. So these are the two some scenarios for hidden terminal problem as well as exposed station problem. So in hidden terminal problem, so whatever the hidden node we have, that occurs when a node is visible from a wireless access points but not from other nodes communicating with the access point, which leads to difficulties in MAC sublayer. So that's why the wireless stations have transmission ranges, and not all the stations are within radio range of each other. So simple CSMA will not work. That is, C transmits to B, but if A senses the channel, it will not hear the C's transmission and fastly conclude that A can begin a transmission to B. So in this case, yes, the simple CSMA will not work, that is carrier sends multiple access, and which is a MAC protocol in which a node verifies the absence of other traffic before transmitting. In the same way, in exposed station problem also, which occurs, this problem occurs when a node prevented from sending packets to other nodes because of neighboring transmitter. So this is the inverse problem of hidden station problem. Here B wants to send to C, and listens to the channel, but when B hears A transmission, B falsely assumes that it cannot send to C. So this is the hidden exposed station problem. And if we consider in previous slide, we considered about DCS and PCF. So the DCF is nothing but distributed coordination function. So it uses CSMA with collision avoidance, and both physical and virtual carrier sensings, two methods are supported. Based on multiple access with collision avoidance for wireless with virtual carrier sensing, and the physical carrier sensing. So the protocols are in general, which is a set of rules. A protocol is nothing but a set of rules. The key elements of a protocol are the syntax, semantics, and the timing. So syntax is nothing but structure or format of data, and indicates how to read the bits, or we can simply call it as field definition. Semantics is nothing but interprets the meaning of bits, and it knows which fields define what action. And timing in the sense, so where data should be sent and what, and speed at which data should be sent, or speed at which it is being received, sending side as well as the receiving side. So wireless LAN protocols in general, as we discussed now. So MACA protocol should hidden as well as the exposed terminal. So send RTS, that is ready to send. Send RTS here, we are presenting here. Send RTS, which is ready to send and clear to send first. So RTS CTS helps determine who else in the range are busy. Okay, or can a collision still occur? To check this, we need to have RTS and CTS. So sending an RTS to B and B responding with CTS to A. So what is a virtual channel sensing in CSMA? As we know, CSMA is nothing but carrier sense multiple access, which is a MAC protocol, and CA is nothing but collision avoidance. So in this, for example, if we consider this figure, C is in the range of A, and which receives RTS, and based on the information RTS creates the virtual channel busy NAV network allocation vector, and D in the range of B, and which receives CTS and creates a shorter NAV. So network allocation vector. So the advantage of CTS and RTS is, so RTS is 20 bytes and CTS is 14 bytes, and MPDU can be up to 2300 bytes. So ready to send and CTS at the same time. MPDU is nothing but, which is also a MAC protocol for used to data unit, MAC protocol data unit, which can be up to 2300 bytes. So virtual implies source station sets the duration field, data frame, or in RTS and CTS frames. So stations then adjust their NAV accordingly. That depends on that, the stations will adjust. So in fact 802.11, how the fragmentation will be there. So when high wireless error rates are there, long packets have less probability of being successfully transmitted, as we know. So when the error rate is more, the transmission success is very less. So the solution to this is we need to divide the MAC layer, and when we are dividing, we need to use one protocol called stop and wait protocol on the fragments. So like this, when A is sending RTS, when both are in the same frequency, A and C and B and D, and RTS, and from B CTS will be transmitted, and depending on the data size we are dividing into number of fragments. So when we are dividing into number of fragments, we need to have stop and wait protocol. And when station senses the channel when it wants to send, for example, if it is idle, the station transmit. Otherwise, if station does not sense a channel while transmitting, okay, before transmitting only, if it is idle, the station will transmit. So if the channel is busy, the station differs until idle and then transmit. Until it becomes free, it will wait, then transmit. So upon collision, wait a random time using binary exponential backup. So and the point coordination function we are using is, so it uses a base station to poll other stations to see if they have frames to send or not. There is no collision occurred here, and the base station sends beacon frame periodically. Contains all the beacon frame, in the sense it will contain all the information about network transmitted by the access points. And there may be a possibility of coexisting DCF and the PCF. So we will see here. So it will send the acknowledgement SIFS, that is short IFS, interframe symbol. And if it does not, for example, in SIFS, so we have some time duration. So is the time waiting between packets on ongoing dialogue, RTS and CTS, data, acknowledgement, and next frame. So if there is no response during this time, it will go for PIFS, that is PCF and IFS. So if again there is no response, it will go for DIFS. Again there is no response, it will go for EIFS, that is extended IFS. So lowest priority interval used to report bad or unknown frame. The software, it deals with the hierarchies of protocols and the design issues for the layers, connection oriented as well as connectionless service, and some service primitives, relationship of services to protocols. This comes under network software. So these are the protocol hierarchies. We have some interfaces between each and every layer, and the layer 1 to 5, again layer 1 to 5 in both hosts, and some sort of physical medium in between host 1 and host 2. And hierarchies. So for example, virtual communication in layer 5, and we are sending the data and from higher, that is layer 5. When the data is transmitted from layer 5 to layer 4, it will add its own header. In the same way, layer 4 to layer 3, again it will add its own header. The multiplexed data is transmitted through the communication medium to host 2, and whatever the data added by layer 2 of host 1, the same data will be received by layer 2 of host 2. At the same time, in layer 4 also, the data added by the header added by layer at layer 4 in host 1 will be received or demultiplexed at layer 4 in host 2. So we have some design issues for the layers: addressing, error control, flow control, multiplexing, and routing. So some services, so 6 different types of services in connection oriented as well as connection less transmission, and some examples I am trying to show. That is reliable message stream in connection oriented service, reliable byte stream, unreliable connection. The examples are sequence of pages, remote login, and digitalized device. In connectionless also, unreliable datagram, acknowledged datagram, request reply, and these are the examples for these services. So service primitives. So we have listen, connect, receive, send, and disconnect. They are the primitives. And what is the meaning? Listen. So block waiting for an incoming connection. Connect, establish a connection with a waiting pair. Receive, it will receive for incoming message. Send to the destination or the middle node. Disconnect, it will terminate the connection. So in connection oriented service, these are the service primitives we have. So in the same way, in client server interaction also, we have some service primitives. So this is a client machine and this is a server machine. From client machine, it will send connection request, from server acknowledgement, from client request data, from server reply, and from client disconnect and disconnect. So this is a process of communicating as well as terminating. And what is the relation between service and protocol? So protocol is nothing but some sort of rules which are to be executed. Service which is provided by a particular layer, and protocol, whatever the service provided by the layer, that protocol will be operated, that service will be operated by the protocol. So thank you for your patience and listening.